Alright, hello and welcome to this video. So today I'm going to be installing this RaceChip unit into my Mercedes C180. Now the whole idea about units like this is that what they do is they intercept the connection between various sensors and the ECU of your engine. And the idea is that they give slightly different readings to the ECU and thus they help to increase turbo boost pressure and things like that. And the end result of that is that supposedly it makes your car a little bit faster, a little more responsive, and it helps improve acceleration times. Now, I've been looking at something like this for my C180, and the reason for it is this. My C180 is obviously at the very bottom of the C-Class range. And so, even with a tune like this, it's never going to be breathtakingly fast, and that's not the point either. But it should help improve acceleration times and make the car a little more responsive. With my C180, it's all right. It goes from A to B, but it does suffer from turbo lag. It can be a little slow at times. It takes a while to build up momentum, especially when especially when I'm on the motorway, for example, and I'm trying to overtake someone. I put my foot down, and it takes a while to get going. So the idea of this unit is that supposedly it should help make that a little bit faster and give the car a little more punch. So we're here to find out whether or not that's actually true. So in this video I'm going to be installing this, and then I'm going to show you some before and after shots, and we'll see whether or not it actually makes a difference. So let's see what you get inside the box. It's a beautifully presented box. So on the left hand side we have the unit itself. Now, there are three main units you can get. You can get the S, the RS, and this, which is the GTS. And when you go up from the S to the RS and to the GTS, every time you go up a model, it becomes a little more expensive, but then you get more power and more torque. You also get more fine-tuning options, and also this should supposedly help with fuel economy. But from what I've read, it doesn't actually make that much difference. The main difference is just to help make the car a little faster and improve overall responsiveness. So there's the main connector there. There's nothing really on the back. You've got some slots here for where you can put the zip ties to put this in place. And then at the front, you can see this, you get two buttons and a little screen. So this is a minus and a plus button, and what you can do is this being the GTS, it has 7 different mapping options, and you can go through 1 through to 7. And as you go up higher up through those options, I think supposedly it helps make the car a little faster, and it helps to produce a little more power. So I guess the best thing to do is just put it in option 7. But the mapping options are there because, for example, if you put it in 7, for some people that might be a bit too much, so you can dial it down to like 5. So that's pretty cool. That's the unit. It's well built, made out of plastic, so that's very nice. Then we get this. This must have the so you get a bunch of zip ties. Alright, so yeah, you get a bunch of zip ties to put this in place. You get a few of these little plastic hooks, and these connect in here, so you just put them in here. They just go in there, and then you can put the zip ties through. So that's cool. And you also get this tiny screwdriver. Alright, so the next thing you get is the connectors. So let's just put that to one side. Here are the main connectors to the various different sensors, and this connects to your main RaceChip unit. So let's take a look at this. Whoa. So, important information I see about how to connect the connectors. Okay. And then of course the connectors themselves. So these feel alright. Perhaps a little flimsy if I'm to be honest, but okay. No, I mean it's good build quality. And then of course you get the main connector here. This is just a cover for the connector, so you can take that off when you perform the installation. But yeah, this is a look at the close-up of the actual connectors that connects to one of the sensors. So this connects to, I think there's two main sensors, like a manifold sensor, and there's a turbo booster sensor as well. And that's about it. And of course it connects to the ECU. So the next thing you get is a car-specific installation manual, which is very nice, because of course these units, these RaceChip units, they sell them for all sorts of different car manufacturers. BMW, Jaguar, Aston Martin, Audi, etc. So you get car-specific manuals, which is very nice, and it just goes into detail. It's very nicely presented. Goes into detail about how you install the units. So that's kind of cool. And then finally you get this. You get two things actually. Firstly you get this, which is how you connect and disconnect the connectors properly. Very cool. But also you get this. Now this is very important. You get a RaceChip warranty. And supposedly what they do is you can fill this in, or you can probably just contact them or fill their online version, and you get RaceChip warranty for your engine. So if this unit does end up damaging your engine, supposedly this warranty covers it. I mean, I'm quite skeptical about warranties. A lot of time they say, "Oh, this is not covered, that's not covered," or there's some small print somewhere that means you get nothing basically. But at least they give you that. So hopefully it should give you some reassurance that this unit is not some dodgy little crappy tuning mod, but something that has been professionally designed and tested. But yeah, that's it. Okay, so now I've taken the air filter tube, well, not air filter, but the air intake tube off. Not the main bit, just this little connector here. Now we can get to the turbo boost pressure sensor, which is not this one. Okay, it's not that one. It's that one there. Can you see that? It's just there, so we have to disconnect that and connect our special wiring harness in place. Alright, so progress update. RaceChip claims that this is a plug-and-play installation. I think well, it sort of is, and it sort of isn't. It is because you only have to plug in some cables, but it isn't because you have to open up quite a few things to do it. So if I just show you, I've taken off the air box, the cover screws, the ECU. I've taken the ECU out. I've taken the air intake. What do you call this? Air intake assembly, the thing that holds the air filter, or the air filter assembly. You can see it here, so it would be here. Taking the engine cover off. So anyway, how it works is that you have a engine. So you have an engine manifold pressure sensor here, and this RaceChip wire intercepts that, so this would connect there normally and intercept that, and then that wire comes to your RaceChip unit. As well as that, the RaceChip wire has another wire which goes down here. I'm not sure if you can see that down there, but there is a sensor there for the turbo boost pressure, and again, perhaps you can see it now. You can see that it's been intercepted there, and then you've got to zip tie it and so on. So it's not a, at least on this engine anyway, I don't think it's a 100% a 100% straightforward install. It's a little bit of work that needs to be done. And then of course there's the problem with this. So you know, the RaceChip unit itself, where do you put this? Now, from the pictures they sent me, you put it here or here, but that would be for a left-hand drive car, where this block here would be on that side. But I have a right-hand drive car, so you know I don't really have much room here. So what I'm thinking is, as per some of the installation instructions, I may, because there's a zip tie can go through here, so I may just sort of zip tie it here, and it's pretty far away from the engine, far away from the exhaust and so on, and it will still be, you know, rain tight here. So yeah, it's really the best I can come up with, which isn't really great. I mean, I could try and slot it here, but it would be outside this. Actually, it still wouldn't fit there. See, like, I mean, it sort of does, but nah, it's not a great fit. Perhaps you could shove it in there, but I don't think it'll be very good. So I'm just gonna, as per the instructions, you can see the instructions here. See, the zip tied like that, so you know, have the cables coming down, and I shall zip tie the actual unit, RaceChip unit, here, because that's all I can come up with, I'm afraid. But yeah, you can see the air intake tube. I had to take part of that out. Engine cover, obviously, the airbox and the airbox assembly, all that had to come out, so I could get to this manifold pressure sensor. And getting to this boost sensor down there is kind of tricky. You either have to take this bit off, or I mean, I didn't take that off, but it was a lot of struggle to try and get to it. So yeah, there we have it. But otherwise, that's really it for the installation. And now, you know, I've connected the two cables up. I just got to zip tie it in and start testing, so fine tuning. So as I said, this has two buttons up there, minus and plus, and that takes you up from mapping option 1 all the way to 7. And you start off with 1, you turn the car on, you test it, to go for a drive, all is well, you go up 1, and you keep doing that until you reach 7, or until you reach mapping where the engine sounds a little bit dodgy, there's a little bit of a knocking sound or something, and then you stop at the previous mapping. But yeah, you know, there we have it. That is basically the installation. So I'm going to put all this back together, show you what that looks like, and then we can take the car for a spin. Okay, so another progress update. I managed to get this the assembly back in. Got to put these screws back in. I've clipped these cables back in place. Now I've got to put the ECU. It's over there. I've got to put the ECU back in here, connect the ECU up, and I guess we can then turn this engine on and see, well, begin testing. I mean, I have already technically done that, just to make sure there's no engine warning lights and that kind of stuff, but obviously I have to do testing of the mapping settings. But otherwise, we're almost complete. So yeah, getting these cables, you know, back in their clips is not particularly easy, and getting this unit back in there, and this cable here, you know, it's not 100% straightforward. I think I might route this cable around here, bring it around here, and then I have this RaceChip unit here, and then the other cable just comes from there, and we can just sort of zip tie in place. Okay, so new update. I've got the cables in there. Let me just stand this way. So I've got the cables running back through there. I've got the ECU back in place with the cables for the ECU connected. I've got the cables coming here to the RaceChip, and I've got these screws in here. I've got this metal thing back around here. I didn't need to take this off, but I accidentally did when I was trying to take this airbox holder, or whatever the hell you call this thing. When I was taking that out, I thought I had to undo this, but you don't. So, but whatever, that's back in. So now I've got to put the airbox no, sorry, not the airbox, the air filter. Got to put the air filter back in place, connect the tube, do a little bit more zip tying, and also put the race chip in, and it's done. Alright, so here we have it. The installation is now complete, and here is what it looks like. So we've got the race chip unit up front here, and it has two main zip ties going through this hole and going just underneath this rubber sealant here, and that holds the race chip unit in place. And the cable goes back, comes through here. We've got two cables. One goes back to the manifold absolute pressure intake sensor, and the other cable comes down here and goes to the turbo boost pressure sensor as well. And you can see I've zip tied the cable in a number of different places. Zip tied it here, zip tied the unit here. You can see further zip tying of the cable going back through there. And you notice that I've avoided pipes, so don't zip tie to pipes because the instructions say that that will cause abrasion. So instead, zip tie to, like, you know, the chassis, if you will, or other zip ties, or you can try and zip tie to electrical cables, things like that. But avoid pipes. So I've got the cables running above the pipe, and it's zip tied to the sort of side panel here. So there we are. See here, I've zip tied it to another electrical connector. Well, not connector, but a wire. Same thing back there. You can see it's zip tied to other wires, not pipes or hoses or anything, just wires. And there we have it. That is the installation complete. Now this is obviously before the tune. We're in sport mode with eco mode off. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, here we go. It's a 1.6 litre inline 4 single turbo engine with 154 horsepower and I think 250 newton meters of torque. I have to look that one up actually, I'm not 100% sure. But you know, it's all right, I guess. It's a sort of light to mid-weight kind of car, a mid-size kind of car as well. You know, so it sort of feels like driving a go-kart, to be honest. It's kind of fun. Although I'm pretty sure that's mainly down to the light steering. But anyhow, you saw that. We'll do a few more pulls and let's see how it goes. You know, I mean, you saw that. I mean, that's not exactly the stuff of dreams. You know, that's not exactly mind-blowing performance. There we go. Let's try this. There we go, 60. Alright. So, you know, that was okay. gets there fairly quickly, you know. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, wow. The car genuinely accelerates quicker. It feels much sharper. It feels like it has a sort of sense of urgency to it. So before, or at least if you keep it in small mode, that is, before, you know, it wouldn't really matter if you had it in the eco mode or the comfort or whatever mode, or if you had it in sport mode. It just, every time you put your foot down, it was just slow. What can I say? You had to wait a little while for the car to really get going, to really build up momentum. So, here we go. Yeah. Point proven, I think. Let me just slow down a bit again, and let's try it. Just accelerates quicker, and there's, you know, if you keep going, there's more turbo boost. So before, the turbo boost would sort of cut out pretty quickly, and you'd have to shift up a gear. Now it feels like the turbo boost, it has more boost. It keeps going for longer, basically. So you get more turbo boost higher up in the rev range than you did before. Here we go, let's try another pull. Yeah, there we go. It's not too bad, it's not too bad, you know. If you're going to compare this car to a C63, then it's rubbish. But if you're going to compare it to what it was before, and to other similar models in the C-Class range, such as the, let's say, C200, the C250, and on the W205 generation, even the new C300, which also shares the same 4-cylinder engine block. If you compare it to those cars, it's actually quite fast. So I think a C200 petrol with the turbo produces around 210 or so horsepower. The C180 as stock produces 154 horsepower and 250 newton meters of torque, I believe it is. So you're up to, with the RaceChip tune, you're up to around 200 or so horsepower. So you're not far off from the C200, basically.